The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, right here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison, alongside Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, and Christy Scales. Ladies, happy Thursday. How y'all doing? Dang, y'all tired?
Hey.
Aisha's over here stressed. I'm sorry,
Yes,
girl.
this
I
is-
know.
y'all,
It's a hard time for
home
you.
stretch. Crunch time,
Yes.
y'all.
Home stretch.
It's getting real.
You've been busy, though.
Yes, it's getting real. About to really find out. It's not any more speculation. After next week, you'll know who is going to be a part of this team, and we'll start breaking down how they can make an impact in their first year. Because baby, you gonna need it.
I like the analogy,
Yes.
the track analogy. What's the track analogy you used?
Oh yes, baby. I'm on my last 100, and my
Stop.
legs is burning. That lactic acid is starting to kick in.
You the anchor of the relay?
Yeah, baby. I don't even know about all that. I'm trying my best. So
But when you cross that finish line,
Yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys are going to have
I'm gonna pass out.
their
pass
new
out.
rookies.
Maybe throw up.
No, because then we'll have rookie camp after that,
Mm.
and Yeah. then it really gets going.
Then it
So-
really feels like football season again, you know?
Aisha, fix your face.
But you get a little break. You get a small break.
Christy.
Just think of that. You get a
Then
small
it's
break.
mini camp. Christy, please don't
She
ruin
didn't
my
wanna hear
Rookie
that.
camp's
That
not
didn't
till
help her.
June. We got phase 2
That's what
and
I'm
phase
saying.
3. Oh, we got all sorts of fun stuff. OTAs.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff still going on at the Star now. They
Yep.
just released, I know Netflix announced today its latest series, America's Sweethearts, which is following the Dallas Cowboys. I know Christy Scales was there for the filming. How was that?
Yeah, so I'm so excited because there are so many Dallas Cowboy cheerleader fans who faithfully watch the CMT, Dallas Cowboys cheerleader making the team for 18 seasons. And there hasn't been a cheerleader show the past 2 seasons, but the Netflix crew, Greg, the director, and his production crew, this actually started, the filming started last May of 2023. So it followed going into the audition process last year. It followed training camp. And what's going to be great about this Netflix series is it follows not just the summer and the making of the team, because the previous show on CMT, it had the auditions, it would pick several of the girls, follow them, and then the final episode, the payoff, was the first preseason game in which the payoff, the girls finally, after all that work all summer, they come out on the field and perform for the first time in front of the 93,000 fans, and that's the end of the show. This one, we get to see the DCC through the whole season. And it focuses not just on some of the rookie hopefuls, and through that summer process of training camp, you get to see so many things behind the scene, so many cool things from the regular season. You'll get to see some of the behind the scenes things for Salvation Army, like the Thanksgiving a Day game and the rehearsals with Dolly Parton. And one of the things that I do working with the cheerleaders is ride the team bus. The cheerleaders take a bus to and from each game. They even film that. And so not everyone, I think that they filmed 3 of our bus rides last season. But it's if you are a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, and particularly the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, you will absolutely love this, because it is, to say it's inside access is an understatement.
Yeah.
And so for years, I have been advocating, let's get the cheerleaders out there more and show all of the things that they do during the week, not just the visits to the Children's Hospital or the VA hospitals, but the incredible young women that they are, and their careers, and all that is involved in what they put into this effort. And I think that the Netflix show is going to show that. So we're not announcing the exact release date yet, but it will be this summer, and it will be several episodes. And I know that the DCC, we're just all thrilled about it.
Yeah, it's 7 episodes, 45 minutes per episode.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I saw that the broadcast team that did put together Last Chance.
It's
U.
unbelievable.
I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Oh, it's gonna be bomb.
This is not two people with a iPhone or a thing like following around.
Yeah.
This is major. You know, they come in from California. There were a lot of local folks too, but the production value is incredible. I'll give one example. I mentioned there are a few times where we're going on the bus to game day and from game day. The final one that they did, they actually had a truck in front of the bus, and they rigged up this camera behind it to film the bus going down the road and going down the ramp and then pulling up to the locker room, because you go in the bowels of the stadium and go underneath. I mean, just the production value is off the charts. So awesome. I can't wait to see the finished product.
I can't even imagine. So fun fact.
Yeah.
Twice in college, I decided to mark something off my bucket list and go to DCC auditions.
Woohoo!
So Christy and I met actually years ago as she was the judge. And
Okay, Jess.
clearly didn't make it, but
It's okay. It's okay.
it was a bucket list thing growing up in dance and doing all of that. So seeing that production from CMT was incredible. Even back then, and that was years ago. I'm not going to tell y'all what year because I was on the show crying.
Oh,
we don't need to go
please.
back and watch that.
No.
But I'm just saying, I'm really excited to see what Netflix can do, especially because, like I said, that was years ago. So the technology and everything now, I can't even imagine. I'm really excited. And the respect I have for DCC is just immense off the charts. They work their tails off, and you're right, they don't get enough recognition.
And certainly when the specific dates are announced, we'll definitely share that so that everybody knows when to tune in. Of course, the great thing is with streaming, if you don't see it the first hour it's released, you can watch it anytime. So it's a great thing.
It was only right to kick off the show. Shouting out the ladies.
There you go.
Show some support.
Yeah.
That's the girls' talk.
girls'
now we
talk.
got boys' talk.
Yes, we gotta talk boys now.
We cover it all here.
Some news yesterday. The Cowboys signed Royce Freeman, who was with the LA Rams last season. What's y'all's thoughts? I know, Aisha, you did a quick scouting report. What's your scouting report on him?
I mean, I think you listen. It's just me. I don't like the term camp body. I think especially when some of these guys like bounce around and stuff, like every opportunity that comes to them is important. I just think we should be a little bit more caring about how we speak about people, but that's just me. But he's just a veteran guy to come in here. We know this running back room is a bit thin experience-wise. He comes in here with some experience, very north to south runner, has some downhill ability, has a little bit of explosiveness. I mean, again, he is at the latter part of his career, and he has kind of bounced around or whatever the case may be, but it just keeps your other running backs honest. Bringing some competition into this room, and then also too, you do have some rooks that hopefully there might be a rook or two running back that's coming in here after the draft, and you just want another veteran in here because baby, all you got right now is Rico Dowdle, and we know his experience on the field is limited. Although he has been here, he knows the ropes and everything. His experience on the field is limited in that sense. So just get another guy in here, another person in the room, and keeps the competition honest. But he does have a little something to his game or whatever. So he's different than any other runner I think we have on the roster right now. So he just adds another flair if they're going to use him.
Just really quickly, ladies, let me go ahead and open up the text line, call line. Call us at 1-888-855-2297. Call us at 1-888-855-2297 if you want to hop in on this conversation. All right, Jess, go ahead and take it away with your thoughts.
So I was doing some studying here, and I kind of last night was like, what is this angle I can take on him? Because I want to make sure to give him a fair shot coming in. Like Aisha said, there was just some not so nice things being said on social media, and don't like that. But what I did notice is he's not going to be your speed runner. From the film I did see, he's not going to be your speedy guy. I definitely think that's Rico. He has about 15, give or take, pounds on Rico as far as size. He's about an inch taller, but he's not your speed guy. So Rico definitely is still the speed guy. Deuce, I want to say, is probably even a little bit quicker than Royce would be as well. Back in 2018, I was doing some deep diving into his career, kind of to see maybe what Cowboys ties he's had. In 2018 was his rookie season in Denver with the Broncos. And something that I found that might be interesting and could come in handy as far as that veteran leadership and some nuggets he can bring into this locker room is he was the backup running back to Philip Lindsay in 2018. However, DeMarcus Ware, y'all may or may not know him here in Cowboys world, but legend, Ring of Honor.
Absolutely.
You know,
Maybe a little something
small
Hall of
guy,
Famer,
maybe.
no?
Small guy.
Sometimes
like
leave
that.
a sack. Okay, whatever.
As we know, went to Denver, and he actually went back that 2018 season as a part-time member to help with the pass rush. So he was what was the official title? Let me get this right. I don't want to say it wrong. He was a, part-time pass rush consultant, and he helped tutor the next kind of generation of pass rushers. However, that doesn't necessarily mean he worked directly with Royce here, but it does mean that he was up against a pass rush and that offensive line that he could know how to get through those pockets. So I thought that was very interesting there as well. So give him a shot. Let's see what happens. There's a long time between now and training camp. A lot can happen. The draft is yet to happen. So I'm just seeing what he got. But yeah, it was very clear he's not your speed guy from what I saw in the film.
We don't have the luxury of being super choosy right now.
Yeah.
Either, so I'm just kind of.
Yep.
The experience is the main thing. And Aisha, I so appreciate what you said about people, it's a camp body. So disrespectful.
Yes. I
hate
So
it.
disrespectful when people say that. I think it was Nick Eatman on at DallasCowboys.com. Everybody watching this knows Nick Eatman. But let's see, the Freeman's 471 rushing attempts is basically more than everybody else on the roster pretty combined. Rico 96. And Hunter, Hunter Lipke contributed a lot more as the season continued to go on last year. But you need that experience. This is the kind of guy. It's similar to last year when the Cowboys signed Ronald Jones, right, to be that veteran kind of insurance and steady guy. Yeah. And then Ronald ended up not doing the final roster. He had gotten NFL suspension, I think, for some performance enhancers, which were like supplements or something that he had ingested unwittingly. So it reminded me of that move last year in terms of bringing in veteran experience.
Does this change the approach heading into the draft? No? Yes?
No.
Absolutely.
Watch.
Say that louder?
Yeah, say that a little bit louder.
Scream it. Go ahead.
Absolutely not.
No, louder.
No, we can't hear
louder.
you. We can't hear you.
Louder.
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
I mean, I also noticed one of the things is that he's not really used as a pass catcher. He doesn't really, you know how Mike McCarthy likes to get a little creative with his running backs. Is that something that's you can improve on when you are heading into camp, knowing that this offense kind of is a little bit different and creative? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think your running backs need to focus on the run game. You need a run game. That was a big downfall. I don't think you even worry about that. Yeah. You focus on establishing a run early, and you figure out whether it's going to be one guy that takes the load. You do that 1-2 punch again that was successful, not last year, the year before with Tony and Zeke. You figure out what works as far as getting a run game established, because you cannot have a repeat of last year of not having an established run game really throughout the course of the season. You can't wait until the final week of the season to see the burst start to come, and then, come first round of the playoffs and that be the downfall that one of the downfalls that didn't allow you to continue through. So I think it's a good trait to have for any running back, but please focus on getting a guy that is going to get you constant yardage. And something about Royce, I mean, and again, he's not the end-all be-all. I'm not saying that. He does average about 5 yards per carry, which isn't horrible when you're thinking about first down. If that turns into a 2 and 5. A game of inches, look, you need somebody that's steady in getting you yardage with the run game. Focus on that first.
Yeah, and I think the approach, like, for example, when Tony Pollard was drafted, Zeke was your number one guy, and Pollard was going to be a versatile guy who, when Tony Pollard was at Memphis, he actually had more receptions than he had rushes. And so that was going to be kind of bringing in a different kind of style of player. And the Cowboys, I don't think they're going to be looking for that this when they're looking for a potential new starting running back with a rookie. It's, as Jess notes, someone who's going to tote the ball first, and anything else would be a bonus.
Yeah. So it kind of brings up a little bit of question. What do you do right now? The running back room is Hunter Lipke, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, you got Royce Freeman,
Potentially
Malik Davis, potentially Snoop Connor. now, what do you do with Deuce Vaughn? Because I think that more so his size has kind of prevented him from, being in that rotation a little bit more. Do you see him more on special teams? What do you kind of think that they do there
Well,
with him?
remember with the kickoff return, the changes in the
And
rules,
yeah.
and you're going to have 2 returners deep. So you'll have Kavonte Turpin and then someone
possibly,
else.
yeah.
So Rico, I'd say right now it's probably, if this were if the rules were from last season, you'd probably have Rico as the other person there. But it's going to be tough for Deuce Vaughn this season. But that may be a niche role that he can really excel in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this Cowboys offense hasn't had you haven't had a steady screen game in a minute, and just some of the things that I think about I think all around one of the best games that I think as a collective from the running backs was the Jets game last year, is where in the game plan you could tell they had a plan for Tony. They knew some of the things he did well, but they got Deuce involved in the screen game, and he was effective right away. Yeah. It did not take time for you to see how he can operate in space and what he's able to do in that regard. You mentioned the receiving aspect of things. Yeah. He killed that in college. I understand some of the size limitations and some of the things that people are worried about there. It's not for a lack of him not trying. He will definitely put his body on the line in pass pro if that's something that you want to do. I think also, too, because of the state of the offensive line last year, you didn't have the leeway to maybe just let him go out there and take his lumps. You couldn't do that, and you couldn't risk your quarterback getting hurt because it's just how things were last year. I do think he is going to have to compete this year, but I think a good OC finds someone like him a role.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I mean, if we're talking about by committee and how things work in the NFL, he brings a receiving game. He can kill you in the run after catch ability and some of the things he can do in the passing game. But also to your point, Jess, you mentioned just the lack of run game. A lot of that had to do with the offensive line. Yeah. So hopefully he's able to come in and show what he can do, because he's a competitor, and I just think there's ways to get him involved that can give you splashes on. And to your point about the returning, I think Kavonte Turpin is probably going to have more opportunities as a returner this year.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
With that, how much is he going to be involved in the receiving game when they tried to kind of do it last year? I think that Deuce Vaughn can kind of take over that role, and Kavonte Turpin can be that specialist that we've been looking for him to be and have some of those explosive runs.
Yeah, but just to clarify, you mean a role beyond just as a gadget guy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's, because a lot of these guys get labeled as that, especially when they're small or whatever the case may be. But I watched Deuce Vaughn's tape. Yeah. I watched him play against some of the better defensive lines in college, and he made them look silly. And it wasn't even just like, oh, I'm making guys miss. He will dip his shoulder and also run into people. He's not. So I don't know why he's labeled as
can I say one thing?
Fickle
and this
thing.
is not pushback, but the one thing about Deuce was that I saw last year is he wasn't getting yards after contact. And that has to do with size. I mean, when he was it was down, and it was different because in college, breaking those tackles and stuff. So I hope that we get to see more of that this year. Where, obviously he's elusive and the speed and stuff, but
I think our offensive
yards
line
after contact
had a lot to do with that, because I remember distinctively seeing. By the time he would be coming in at the end of those games, a lot of the time, it would be the second stringers. There's no continuity. They weren't getting any push. So people were meeting him in the backfield almost every time. I think he needs a little bit more of a chance.
And how many sacks were allowed on Dak at that point?
Muffins. So I think,
No,
please.
It's the reality of what was going on. Also, I just want to point out, too, and, people can take this for what they want, but Deuce is such a locker room guy. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking the ultimate team player. Absolutely. It is Deuce Vaughn. And even just as a rookie who could have come in here and, not really talk, he's a guy you want in your locker room. He's a guy that you want to represent your team. Yes. Football aside, yes, a good OC, to your point, Aisha, is going to find a role for somebody like that. He works his tail off. And the thing I respect about Deuce is you can bring up his size and, how do you kind of compensate for, being the smaller one on the team. And that guy is a brick wall. I don't know, y'all, if you haven't seen Deuce, he is shorter, yes, but he is a brick wall. He's all
stout.
muscle, and he is inevitably, without a doubt, he's not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, he's going to compete.
I definitely am excited to see what he does and kind of how he learned his role throughout last year and sat back, because it wasn't up to him whether he had to sit back or not. He was chomping at the bit to get more playing time. So trust me, it's just the beginning for him.
It's
going
to be a fun preseason. And it's going to be great.
Certainly going to be a fun little off season next couple of weeks. We've got the draft coming up. We're going to be picking Aisha's brain in the next segment, just about who could potentially land here in Dallas. You're watching Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The 11th annual Reliant Home Run Derby is back at Riders Field in Frisco on May 1st at 6 p.m. Come see your favorite Dallas Cowboys players swing for the fences to raise money for the Salvation Army. Admission and parking are free. Visit dallascowboys.com/ReliantHRD to learn more, and we will see you there. Such a fun event.
It really is.
Yes.
So fun.
I know we said we're going to pick Aisha's brain in this segment, but first we have a caller. We have Derek out of Springfield. How are you, Derek? Go ahead, take it away. What you got for us?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Hi, Derek.
All right. So I just had a couple questions and then one kind of thought. So this one's kind of odd because he's not with us anymore, but do you guys know what happened with La'el Collins? I know we had it signed to like a future deal during the playoffs or right before the playoffs started last year. You know, he probably wouldn't have been a contributor, but, you know, we were one of the teams that got the most out of him. So I was like, hey, if he rehabs good, maybe, you know, he could slide in at, you know, tackle guard, whatever. So I was kind of surprised that all of a sudden he had signed with Buffalo. I didn't really know how that worked. And then my question was, do you guys know, like, with the draft coming up, the trade value chart, is it just, hey, you know, we're going to give you, like if Dallas traded out at 24, and I don't know, a random team, but anyway, if they traded out, does it just specifically go by the chart, or does the chart just kind of there for like a basis?
Yeah.
And I just kind of wondered how that worked, if you guys knew, like, had a little more insight on that.
Sure. Yeah. Derek, that's a great question. It's really more of a guideline, certainly.
Okay.
But it's a great resource. And while Jimmy Johnson is often credited as creating the draft chart, and by that we're talking about a numerical value thing, where the number one overall pick is worth a certain amount of points, and then the bottom of the seventh round is worth less. That is a Cowboy invention, so to speak, created. But it was actually Mike McCoy, who was one of Jerry Jones's business partners when even before Jerry buying the team. And so Mike came on board after Jerry bought the team, and I can't remember his title right now, but it was more the business side of it. But he came up with the numerical value deal and had a consultant come in and, you know, helped create the numerical value chart. So credit to Mike on that. But yes, it really is more of a guideline. But by assigning numbers, if you have the 24th overall pick in the first round, I wish I do have that chart. I don't have it with me today.
No,
a week
yeah,
from
no,
the
it's
draft. But next
740.
740. Okay, for the 740 points for the 24th overall pick in the first round. Thank you, Chris Beam, our producer. And Chris, what's the number 1 overall?
3,000.
Okay, and so Chris, can you please tell me what number 31 is? What is the 31st pick?
That's 600.
Okay, so the difference, and the reason why I say 31 is when we're talking about offensive line, one of the more recent trades that Jerry Jones made in the first round was going back in the draft, trading down, and then ultimately taking Travis Frederick, who of course became a Pro Bowl center at 31st overall. So the change from, for example, 24 to 31 would be 140 points, right? 740 to 600. So that would be 140 would be what, like something in maybe the third round or something like that, a fourth rounder. And so
the 90th overall pick would be that.
90th overall, so that's actually in the third round.
Yeah.
Later,
Correct.
later in the third round. So and Derek, I can tell by your feedback that you're familiar with this already. I have a question for you, Derek. You're from Springfield. Fun fact:
Yes, ma'am.
Springfield is the most named, the name of Springfield, the town, is in the most states in the United States. That's the most
really?
ubiquitous name. Which state are you calling from?
Missouri.
Springfield,
there you
Missouri. There you go. But that's one reason. And isn't that The Simpsons, right?
The Simpsons and Bass Pro headquarters are here.
Oh,
the
wow.
biggest show in the world.
One reason why The Simpsons use Springfield is because it's like the city that's in most states, and so people would think that it was Missouri or Illinois or whatever state they were in.
Wow,
So
Interesting. I wanted to answer your question about the
Lyle.
Lael Collins
Lyle.
thing.
Yeah,
Hey,
that
thank
was-
you, Derek. Great questions.
Yeah, Derek, thank you for calling. Appreciate you.
It's kind of surprised me too, because I thought that maybe they had an idea for maybe him to become the swing tackle, this upcoming season. So whereas I think we've talked about it, like I don't think that anything they do in the draft is indicative of what they think about an Awesome Richards. Maybe they do think that Awesome Richards is capable of being a swing or being a liable swing tackle. But yeah, it's just, I mean, guys are going to go make their money. They're going to go where they feel like it's best for them. I'm sure a lot of things plays into that decision, but to his point, I was surprised as well because I was like, oh, well, maybe they have a plan for him, next year. But
and the Cowboys had re-signed Chuma the week before,
Yeah.
so that was kind of writing on the
was on the
wall.
wall.
That's
that's another fantastic point. So yeah, I mean, that's probably why.
And I think health-wise too, that could kind of play a factor into it. Is you kind of have to compare longevity here of the entire year, and I think Lael was ready and amped up to kind of take that next step post injury and coming back here. And I think ultimately as a player, if you get the opportunity to come work with these doctors here and kind of get you ready again, I think he made the right choice for himself. And so good luck to Lael. It was cool to be here when he came back.
Guy.
He was so excited to be here.
He is a favorite among teammates and those of us that have covered the team a long time. The good news for Lael is he did get more money from Buffalo than Chuma got here, and more guaranteed. So
Good news for him, at
his
least.
1 year $1.75 million deal included $1.5 million guaranteed. So he did get a little bit more
cash.
a little more cash. So that probably helped sweeten the pot a little bit too.
Money
Change.
talks. Money talks.
It does.
It does.
It does.
Best of luck to Lael. But no, we've got to now pick Aisha's brain about who you have your eyes set on to possibly have here in Dallas. Let's start with who your first thoughts are.
I guess we could go through like some of the needs and all the things that we're looking at. But
I'm sorry, just to point this out, this is our very own draft show analyst.
Oh my God.
Very own. So we're getting some exclusive insight right here. Go ahead.
It's so everyone is this tackle class is loaded, right? It's very, very heavy at the top, and so I think a lot of people expect for the Cowboys to go offensive line, at the beginning of the draft or in the first round, and it does kind of complicate things because I do think whoever is there could change. I don't know if Tyler Smith is going to be your tackle or your guard. And I do think that plays a role in whether they decide to take a tackle or a guard. I personally think that they might go with a guard. But anyway, we've been talking about on the show Kingsley Suamaitea from BYU tackle. I think to your point earlier, we're talking about coming downhill, being able to really fire off the ball, get to the second level.
Emphasize on that.
We didn't see that much this past year. To really be able to control blocks down the field and stuff, Kingsley does this very well. I like his temperament. I like the fire that he kind of plays with as well. And so he's a guy that we've talked about on the show ad nauseum that we would love to see. Now, we have talked about some trade back and stuff scenarios as well, to where we do feel like there may be opportunity to maybe go up and go get a guy. But he's one of the gentlemen that I think is semi-likely to fall to the Cowboys in that way. However, there are we talked about Christian Jones, who is a tackle out of Texas, rather. Talked about him a little bit last week, and I feel like I did him a little wrong, because when I watched his film, I actually was more impressed with him than I think most of the guys were on the show when we talked about him. Yeah. I think his athleticism stands out. I think he's still also able to get upfield and to do traps and things like that. So I think that there's a big possibility that the Cowboys may attack offensive line to start.
Where's his value?
Oh, so
his projected value.
Oh, his projected value is probably in the second round. Uh-huh. But I do understand that with tackle, I do think there's some guys on the there's some guys in the later rounds or whatever that you could pick up that could come in and but they need someone right now. They need someone ready right now. Christian Jones also has a lot of experience. He's played a lot of ball. Some of these other top guys like Joe Alt and all these guys, I just don't see it happening. So that's how I feel. Now, we talked about linebacker. I definitely think the Cowboys are going to attack linebacker or running back in the second round. So then you see I don't know where linebacker's going to fall, how the board's going to fall, because it's wide receiver happy in this draft and tackle happy in this draft. However, Edgerrin Cooper is a guy that people are very interested in from the linebacker position. He's so lengthy. Does give you some of that DeMarvion Overshown feel, but I think he's a little bit more refined because Texas gave him a job and let him stick to it. DeMarvion was everywhere. He started as a safety and things like that. So that's also a thing. But I do think that they could address running back, and Jonathan Brooks from Texas has been talked about, kind of linked to the team a little bit, and he's coming off of an ACL. Talked to a couple people, don't know how ready he's gonna be. I know his rehab has gone well, and that things are kind of worked out for him in that regard. But he immediately makes your running back room better if he is ready to go by training camp's time.
But will he last to 56 if the Cowboys don't make a move in the second round?
I think he might because of the ACL.
Okay.
I think he might
not based on talent, but just based on the injury history.
Because if you're going off of talent with him, it's like him and Trey Benson from Florida State. These guys are the cream of the crop when you talk about the running back position. And I do think the Cowboys have to address running back or linebacker early because you need immediate impact. To me, there, and then the longevity of it all, that linebacker room right now is who. Is DeMarvion Overshown, Damone Clark, Eric Kendricks, who's on a 1-year deal right now, if I'm not mistaken. There's no lineage at this point. And I think you need to start sowing that for not just this season, but for next season as well. So those are a couple of guys that I think have a chance to get picked up by the Cowboys in that situation. Now, in the third round, I personally think when we talk about defensive tackle, defensive tackle.
Okay.
You might need
say that one more time for the people
defensive tackle, because
we're waiting till the third round.
and I think you would be okay waiting to the third round.
Okay.
I think you would be decent if you waited to the third round. Typically, DT, unless you are just like a star player, those guys typically don't get picked until maybe the 20s and then the later parts of the first round. So you should And there should be, unless there's just a run on them, which would make me sick. Yeah. There should be some gentlemen that are there in that third round. And then there is like a significant drop off in the talent in the DT position.
The first couple are the talented up there, right? It's like Byron Murphy.
Yeah, Byron Murphy,
Texas.
those guys. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why. His last name is Newton from Illinois. I don't know why I can't. Chris, say his name for me. I don't know why it's not registering to me. DT out of Illinois.
Hold on.
Newton.
Yes, Newton is Jerzon.
Okay.
Jerzon Newton.
Okay.
Tater tots.
Right.
And then also too, Tavondre Sweat, who is a gentleman that's from Texas. Big nose tackle. The nose tackle is almost a dying art out here in these streets, and I blame Dan Quinn. I'm just playing. No. I think we did see an influx. Like, football's about trends, right? Yeah. So you did see an influx of a lot of tweeners. You see that at the linebacker position, where these linebackers are getting lighter in the ass. Excuse my language. And then you also see from the D tackle position, teams were looking for gentlemen who could rush the passer. However, you see some of the teams that have been successful, they got that ham in the middle that can just muck things up. It makes it easier for your edges. It makes it easier for your D tackles or your linebackers. And so having a guy in there that maybe can give you some pass rush, but also, too, is able to hold steady on double teams and things like that is going to be valuable. So I say all that to say.
By the way, it's Johnny Newton.
Johnny Newton. He changed.
It's okay.
That's what he goes by.
Okay.
Yes, that's what he goes by. But even with Tavondre Sweat, there's been some things that have happened off the field, some stuff that's happened. I don't know how far this is going to drop him. Yeah. Any team that takes him is going to have to understand that they're taking on someone that is still developing, maturing, and things like that as a man, as a person. But as a player, he's really gonna take up. He's gonna take up some space and let you be able to operate as a defense. So he's a guy that maybe falls, and maybe the Cowboys, who we've seen, are not afraid to take some chances because they think that they have the guys
in the second and third round, not
tracking.
First round.
Tracking. Yeah, I think he's a guy that they're willing to. Yeah. You look at the talent; it's so hard to ignore. Maybe he's a gentleman that they bring in here, and they're willing to, work through. I think they have the people in the building to kind of ground him.
Would he be a plug and play kind of player?
I think he could be. Now, you do have to, again, like, he has some things he's working through, so you want to make sure that he's committed to the weigh-ins and all that type of stuff and making sure that he's ready to go. But if you can get him to commit, he's going to definitely make your defensive interior better. Another guy, Dwayne Carter out of Duke, he is a D tackle. I think that maybe he falls maybe into some of these later rounds. I don't think he gets out of the third, personally. I mean, fourth, even so. And he's just filthy.
Dane has him in the fourth or fifth.
He has him in the fourth or fifth round. Okay, so these are some.
Sweat in the fourth.
Yeah. Okay. So wow. That's crazy because when
he was
lets you know how much he has fallen because
he just had a DWI.
So
that's what happened.
Tavondre Sweat is a
It dropped him that far though. He was projected first round?
It's that serious.
Yeah.
It's that serious. But I guess another third round guy for me is Brandon Dorlus out of Oregon. He's a wild card. When it comes to defensive line, I think that Dan Quinn would have liked him, but I do think that Zimmer might really like him because he can play almost every spot on the defensive line, and he's so tall, lengthy, explosive, and he's really a problem. And one of the top tackles in the draft, his name is Troy Fashanu. He said that Brandon was the best defensive tackle that he played against, and he went up against some competition. He's a handful, so I think he could be there in the third round as well if you want to go that route. Now, when you start getting to the fourth round, you're starting to look for, can this guy make an impact, but like what type of impact? You got to have a plan for these guys, and I think the Cowboys might, if they don't go running back early, maybe they go running back a little bit later. And Kamani Vidal is a guy that I really think he's from Troy. Their all-time leading rusher. The vision from him is important because we talk about this offensive line and how they operate. The vision for him, he has a strong center of gravity. I think he can come in and make this running back room a little bit more explosive. He can do some things in the passing game as well. Maybe he's there in that fourth round, fifth round, and you're able to pick up a running back and get going. I do think they're going to double dip at linebacker though.
I do think. But does he have the burst in the open field?
He's not. I wouldn't say that Kamani is like gonna just run past you, but he does know how to attack angles. And I do like the fact that he does have the capability to get skinny, and get skinny means like the hole may not be as big, but he's able to, his vision allows him to see through it and find it. The breakaway speed is not crazy, but it's just enough. Like, he has just enough suddenness. I think he's a gentleman also as well that maybe you could see in that 4th, 5th round that they're maybe curious about. As far as linebacker goes, though, we need to go?
No.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Keep going.
I know, we're like...
No, but
Tell us more.
as far as linebacker goes, I think I do expect for them to maybe double dip at linebacker because it's so much of a need. I think that they might even attack it in undrafted free agency as well. I don't think that that's something that they're going to really play about. I guess there's a couple guys that interest me, and I think they got a better look at Jordan McGee out of Temple is a gentleman that they have been linked to. They took a look at him. I think he was a 30-day visit, if I'm not mistaken. But some of the guys that they liked at the Shrine Bowl, so like the Shrine Bowl was a luxury, because the scouts and the coaches were able to get a good look at some of these guys. And Darius Muasau out of UCLA is a guy that I think that he still can work on his reactions and some of the instinctiveness sometimes, absolutely. But if you put him next to another linebacker that has that fire to him, he plays with that fire to him as well. He's, if I'm not mistaken, he's Samoan, so he has that. He has the hair, he has the, the grit or whatever the case may be, and maybe he's a gentleman that they're interested in. And Tyron Hopper out of Missouri. Now, y'all ain't gonna like it when I say this, but he's not that big, y'all. Like, he's a tad bit undersized to people's standards. He's 231 pounds. But the way that he operated on that Missouri defense and just the attitude that they play with, where he's not afraid, it's not always going to be pretty with him, but he's not afraid to come downhill. He's not afraid to see the ball and go react and go get the ball. I saw some good things from him, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the Cowboys have met with him as well. So, I do think they're going to have to double dip at the linebacker position. Yeah. Now, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but wide receiver is something that I'm hoping that they don't play about as well. This wide receiver class is very deep, extremely deep, and me and Brian are on the same wavelength when it comes to them maybe getting a guy like a Ricky Pearsall from Florida, who is a route god. I want to say he can call his own number. He has very strong hands, and he also he plays with an elusiveness that I think would pair well opposite of CD. Now, I know some people are looking at, you lost Michael Gallup. Who is your 50-50 guy? Yeah. Who is the guy that can go up in the red zone and make a difference and go up there and snag the ball at a high clip? And I personally think there's a lot of gentlemen that can do that in this draft. I think last year, it was a small draft. Yeah. It was a lot of the gentlemen were shorter, a little bit more shifty, and now this year we're getting back to getting guys that have some more size on them again. And so I do think that maybe, I know a lot of people don't really like him, but I think Xavier Legette out of South Carolina is somebody that people are going to take a chance on. This guy has been through the ringer when it comes to his life experiences and some of the things he's dealt with, but the temperament and how he plays and the physicalness of how he plays is reminiscent to me of how what you're looking for from a 50-50 guy and a guy to go up there and snag the ball out the air at a high clip. But Troy Franklin's gonna get some love from me from Oregon. Yo. I mean, as far as his size goes, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 6'1". Jesus, is he? I know he ain't that small. I wasn't even prepared for that.
What'd they list him at?
176.
Ooh, that's slight.
I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for him to be. I don't remember him being that little. Now, a lot of people are mocking Xavier Worthy from Texas here. I don't see it. Like, I mean, I see it. I don't see it. I don't see it like that. Xavier Worthy obviously killed because he's a speedster. Okay. And that's fantastic, and he's able to, but he little too. I mean, I do think it's important for them to kind of replenish the fact that you don't have a guy that's just that 50-50 red zone guy.
The contested catches.
Yeah, the contested catches, being able to climb the ladder or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't think that I think they should address that because you do have Brandon Cooks on another year. You do have him for another year. You're looking at CeeDee Lamb, and hopefully he's going to be here and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Tolbert, I think, came along last year, and you got to see some things he's capable of, but you need to replenish that room as well. Now, all these top receivers, I think they're going to go. Wishful thinking and being able to grab one of those guys. But, I do think there's going to be a receiver taken in this draft. I can see them definitely having to take a DT because you just don't got no depth there, baby.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got no depth there right now. And double dipping at linebacker, offensive line, maybe they go attack twice because you've lost a center too. Maybe they pick up a center later. But, there's been a couple of names linked to the team right now, and we're just kind of keeping our ears low to the ground because it's just a bunch of rumors at this point. But this draft, the first 3 picks, it's a lot of pressure on this team.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure on this team to be able to get contributions. They're going to need contributions from these guys early, right away. Right. They can't play no games. So it really is. I think I heard Steven mention it on the radio the other day. It sounds like they're really going to go BPA, and I'm praying and fasting that they really do.
BPA is best player available.
Best player available. I apologize. Yes. I mean, I'm really hoping that that's the case with them because we might look up in the first round and we think they're going to pick an offensive lineman and they pick a receiver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So don't freak out.
So don't freak out,
Cowboys Nation.
Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Don't freak out. But I mean,
we should
I'm
all
sorry,
just breathe together. Like the day of the draft. Let's just hoosah together, you know?
Yeah, because there's going to be some people panicking because there's some things. The hardest part of the draft is seeing our nemesis get better. Like Philly, I was looking at Philly's 30 visits and I was like, there's so many people on there that I like.
Don't add salt to the wound.
They make me so sick.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Aisha. We're going to take our second break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The 2024 Dallas Cowboys Star Magazine Draft Guide has in-depth scouting reports. Here we go. On the top college players with more than 400 prospects. Plus, there are breakdowns of the Cowboys' needs at each position, a look back at 10 years ago to the team's dramatic draft, the annual first-round mock draft, and more. Get your copy of the 2024 draft guide at your local pro shop or dallascowboys.com/star.
All right, ladies, we got 2 minutes before we have to go real fast. Aisha, if you are Jerry Jones, yes, put your Jerry Jones hat on. Mm-hmm. Who are you picking? Which position of need would you address earlier on? You kind of already touched on that in the second one, but you have to pick one.
I have to pick one.
Yep.
Barnacles. What's more important? Do we need to stop the run or do we need to be able to run the ball?
I mean, both.
Both, really.
Both would be great.
I don't want to be cliche, but I'm gonna say offensive line. I think it's just it's a big deal. You lost 2 starters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Tackle.
Yeah.
Tackle.
Offensive line, I wouldn't be opposed to center if the tackle that I like is off the board. But if I had to predict, I would say offensive tackle.
Yeah.
You
But I'm
would
good
go
with
center
the
that
center.
early?
Well, it depends.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
I see it more as trading down just a little bit, kind of like they did. I alluded to the Travis Frederick one earlier so that you can pick up another pick. Because remember, you had traded your 4th-round pick for Trey Lance. So I wouldn't, if the tackle
I'm so sorry.
What? No. I mean,
You're huffing and puffing over there.
No,
but if you can go down to like third round and nab one of those DTs or an extra linebacker or something.
Yep.
So anyway, but yes, if I had to predict, it's offensive line in first round.
There's actually, I was gonna go probably left tackle, but there's a center. If we do go center, there's Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon that I know is a fan favorite that a lot of people are hoping comes here.
Yeah,
really
a lot of the mocks show him going before the Cowboys at 24. So we'll see.
We'll see. A lot of fun. We've got to go though. We've got 5 more days till the draft.
We don't know about that just yet.
Yeah, just a week left till the draft. My days.
Ooh. You know,
Time
I
is
thought today
ticking.
was Tuesday.
1 week from today.
You know, 1 week from today, ladies.
No more speculation.
Yes.
If you're watching live, if you're streaming, we don't know.
That part. Now, the draft show will be airing every day next week, right? You'll have your very own Aisha Morrison. That will be an analyst on there, so make sure to check us out. But that'll be a wrap for today's episode. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!